Welcome to Halton SENDIASS Information Advice and Support Service Podcast. I'm Sharon English, and today I'm going to talk you through what to do when you receive an Education, Health and Care Plan draft from your local authority. If a local authority agrees that a plan will be issued for you or your child, the first thing that will happen following this decision is that you will be issued with an EHCP draft. Along with the draft, you will also receive notice from the local authority that you have at least 15 days to make comments about the plan, known as representations, to request a meeting with the local authority to discuss the draft if you want to, and also to request that the educational setting that you would like is named in the EHCP final plan. So, first of all, number one, you're able to make representations. In order to know what representations you may like to make, the first step would be to check your Education, Health and Care Plan draft document. Remember, this document will become a legally binding document. Therefore, it really is worth taking the time to carefully check through everything that is in that plan. IPSEA have a great checklist that SENDIASS are able to share with you, which will support you to look section by section, checking as you go, making notes as you go. Any notes that you make, be that around additions, things that are missing, things that you would like to discuss, things that you would like to add, can then be shared with the local authority. A further podcast will be available which looks in more detail about what you are looking for when you check your draft. When you finish checking your draft and you have made notes of anything that you want to raise as a representation, you can send those representations, questions, observations along to your assessment coordinator and request that they make necessary amendments. There is a template letter available on the IPSEA website, which you might want to use as a starting point when you respond to that draft. You can also ask for a meeting with the local authority to discuss your concerns. If you want a meeting, the local authority must agree to meet you. Another really important thing that you are able to do within your 15 days is to request the educational setting that you would like to be named in the final Education, Health and Care Plan. This is called a right to request. There will be a further podcast which will talk in more detail about your right to request, about the types of settings, schools, institutions, other kind of education that may be requested by yourself during this post-draft period. When you send your representations and your right to request to the local authority, if amendments have been requested and the assessment coordinator and local authority agree to action these, you will then receive a second EHCP draft. Again, you will check through this draft using the IPSEA checklist. Have a look, are all the amendments that you requested now made and reflected in the second version? If you are now happy with the second draft, that's great. Let the local authority know and they will proceed to issue you your final plan, in which they will name the setting in section I. If you're not happy that all the amendments that you have requested are in there, Or indeed, if you've noticed that perhaps there are a couple of areas where you want to make additional comments, then the second draft can be returned with representations about it, and the process will happen again. This process can happen a number of times. It will happen until there comes a point when the local authority feel that they have made all the amendments that they are happy to make, and that they are unable to fulfil any further requests for the amendments that you would like. When you reach this point, the local authority will then issue you a final plan. Anything outstanding that hadn't been agreed at this point, you will be able to consider appealing at a SEND tribunal. It is worth noting that if you are asking for additions to Section F, that these must be reflected within professional reports, ideally those that have been used by the local authority during the Education, Health and Care Plan Needs Assessment. Thanks for listening. There will be further podcasts covering the topic of checking your plan and your right to request. Any questions that you may have, of course, please do come to the SENDIASS service by telephoning 0151 511 7733 or by emailing sendiass@halton.gov.uk.